This is my second time around doing this. I just screwed one up. Uh, okay. Again, I'm going to read this. I got an email from Johnny Gilchrist. Okay, and unfortunately, he sent it to me uh, linked to the C Gap Run video that I did, and he was asking about A Gap, and I assumed he was C Gap. So I spent about an hour writing this big long thing up, and then I posted it, and then he wrote back and said, "No, coach, I wanted to talk about A gap." So, you know, Johnny, come on, you're killing me. Anyway, I decided I would do this video rather than spend a bunch of time writing. This is easier than writing. Okay, and Johnny Gilchrist says, Coach, how would you treat a 2-eye in A gap as the backside guard? Now he's talking about A gap run, okay? And to me, this is the veer side of A gap run. Could be power over here, it could be duo over here, or it could be tight zone over here, okay, on this side. But everyone's stepping in that direction, stepping this way, okay? So that guard has got a man in his gap, okay? And it says green and scoot, yellow and brace shoulder roll, etc., or yellow, okay? Or shuffle or hay bale. He's got every technique that I have in the toolbox, and that's okay. But let me just talk the way we talk to these guys. We don't talk 2-eyes and fours and all that other stuff. We talk green light, yellow light, red light. And this is green light. That's his gap, and there's a guy in his gap. So hang on a second. I'm just going to freeze this for a second. Okay, that's his guy in his gap, green light. We want to cover him. Okay, now he might get, depending on the center's call, he might get help from the center or he might not. If he doesn't get help from the center, he's going to get at least presence from the tackle. Okay, but here's the deal: I don't talk about techniques. I say, you got green light? Okay, cover it. Get your head in front. Now, we used Scoot for forever, and when I went to Lewisburg, we didn't run the C gap, so I didn't want to coach Scoot. You know, I should have, but I didn't have time. You know, we weren't meeting that much. Blah, 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 blah. So we developed the shoulder roll with the gator step. But if I was going to do this today, I would scoot, and I'm not going to explain the technique of scoot because it's on there. Do your research. If you want to see it, it's on there somewhere in my uh, page. Okay, and I'll post the page so you can find it. But anyway, green light, cover, get your head in front past the midline of the defender. The idea is to get him covered up. And that's a Jim McNally thing that he taught to us 30 years ago when they started to run the zone at Cincinnati Bengals. And quite frankly, the read spot idea is came to me first time I ever heard it was Bob Wiley. So you know these guys were big influences on me. But anyway, we're going to cover this man. Going to get our head in front. I'd coach Scoot if I was doing it. Um, we want to take this guy away from the back's vision. We don't want the back to run off of him. We want him covered up. We want the back to be looking at possible double teams, the linebackers, et cetera, and so on. I'm not going to go over the whole duo thing, but if possible, we want to cover him and tear him out of the stovepipe and into the match area. And that's a very easy read for the back. We don't let the back read in the backfield. He's got to put his feet on the read spot before he makes any cuts, including running off the linebackers. Okay, if he cuts in the backfield, you're going to lose the linebackers. That's just the way it is. You can argue with me, do whatever. I don't buy it. Okay. So anyway, that's green light. Okay, I'm going to put it on pause. Okay, now we have yellow light. The man's on you, but he's not in your gap. He's on you. You can touch him. You don't have to take a step. He doesn't have to take a step. You can put your hands on him, but he's not in your gap. If he draws you, okay, if you put two hands on this guy in these particular styles of plays in the stovepipe, you're going to give up your gap. Okay. Now you can get two hands on them late, the whole bit. But what we learned a long time ago was not to block boxes. Okay. So no, don't go two and two and two. And you could probably make a box call. Okay. Let me show you. Okay. If you definitely had control of anyone that might intrude, an intruder into your box. Okay. Let's say you're working with the tackle here, make a box call. I think you could do that. The problem with me over the years, we never had a quarterback that, well, I shouldn't say we never. When we did have a quarterback that could threaten people and get them to play too deep in normal downs, things like box calls were good. Uh, when we had a quarterback that was really not a threat in the short passing game, we wouldn't get too deep. We'd get post safety, and we'd get all kinds of add-ons and twists and whatever. And what we don't want to deal with in box calls. I know how to hang my fat chin over this thing. Hang on a second. When you do have an intruder, somebody that's in there, if you want to make a box call, go ahead. But this guy's going to get spun around. Okay, it's just the way it is. He can dig, he can do whatever, but you got some problems there. So what we preferred to do was keep that arm free, and what we did, okay, over the years, we struggled with footwork. Yeah, the big guru here. We struggled with footwork, and recently, maybe a month or two ago, I remember the slide veer step. Of course, this is the veer side. This is the accordion side. This is the side that rewinds and squeezes things back. Okay, but this is the side that creates punch. We want punch on a veer path for angular momentum. It's easier to knock a guy not, we don't knock him sideways. We knock him at an angle than to take them on straight ahead. And believe me, people do this. They go straight ahead. I used to go straight ahead. I remember playing Western Michigan, and they did a hell of a job using dig technique and these two on these two, but we never stuck. We never snuck anybody in that gap that I remember to slow them down. But if you get these post safety defenses with bunches of people up front and intruders and what have you, you got to deal with that. So we prefer to slide step and keep the gap side or C side arm free. Okay. And, you can go back and do the dig or whatever, but you got to make sure that you've got enough integrity to pick up that intruder. Okay. Like I said, if he's not there, maybe you make a box call. To me, that's a lot of practice, and I got a better play for that anyway. Okay. But anyway, so we want to slide step and carry that guy with on the shoulder, keeping the hand free. You might be able to one-handed, I don't know, but I don't like the idea in A gap in the hard ball runs. I'd rather stick that shoulder pad in there and do it. Now we gave up on the hay bale, which is pretty good because it's two hands on this guy, and even if you step, I'm just not sure about the intruder situation. Okay, and that center might be able to stop that guy, but he's going to have a hell of a time stopping this guy. Okay, drawing's terrible. He's going to have a hard time stopping that dude. Uh, and to me, I'd rather get. We were big on never going backwards. I don't want to get TFL'd. Okay, I don't. I don't want to do it. I want to be sound in the gaps, just like the defenses are, and that's the way it is. So we would use that against yellow. We would want to define that guy, and here's what we would do. Okay, this tackle's got to close that gap, and we want him to scrape paint. Okay, and in the C gap, he'd Apache. That'd be pretty easy, but he's got to scrape paint, so we'd have him skip to it and get as close as he could to that guard. Stretch him with his arms if he had to hammer him, or if the guy's hanging on the back shoulder, just go in there and take him over. Okay, you cover him up. And of course, if he steps to you, definitely cover him up. If he steps away from you, guess what? You're red light. We'll get to red light in a second. But anyway, we wanted that to be some sort of a combo. We don't really double team. Okay, it's 1.5 guys. Okay, and if possible, knock him into the gap just like you would on a hay bale. Okay, knock him into the gap. And of course, if he gets knocked into the gap, guess what he becomes? Green light. And guard grabs him, flips him, tears him, whatever. Okay, we're in good shape. You got a good path to the linebacker. Okay, but we want to move that guy, and we want to be aggressive with this guy. And this slide step is very aggressive. Slide step with the inside foot, and then step into his crotch with the outside foot, and stick that shoulder pad, and keep your arm free, and keep your eyes free, and here we go. Okay, so we've gone green light and yellow light. Now we're going to go red light. Okay, yellow light, this guard perceives himself as being uncovered. Now he could have a shoulder pad tip, where this is like a wide three technique or whatever. If it's a tight enough guy, it's yellow light. It's his choice, not mine. I'm sitting on the sidelines, just watching the thing and hoping that, it all works out right. But what he wants to not do is keep that gap open for that nose guard, that intruder to go busting through there. So he wants a slide step to the gap, see what's going on, and he would. You could even shuffle. Okay, you could step deep. Okay, but he wants to stay square to air. Okay, he's going to step to air. He wants to stay square. He's in the stovepipe, and first thing he's going to look to is that. Now, the problem with the slide step is it isn't deep, but if you look at stances and what have you, it might be deep enough, especially if this center's a pretty good player and he's gonna what we call match or dig this nose. Okay, so he'll feed him to the guard, but he can't just let him go. He can't just vacate. He's got to feed him to the guard. If that nose goes this way, now if something hits his gap, yeah, he's going to let the nose go. We don't worry about it. But if he can feed him to the guard, go ahead and do it. The guard's job is to make sure that that gap is secured and then come back and, a gap run, you can say, well, we're going to Heisman that. And there's guys that'll Heisman. And if he's wide enough, yeah, one arm, one hand will do it. But we like to shoulder chip. So as we step, we'd roll that shoulder down. Okay. And of course, on the slide step, we'd roll the shoulder down too. You want to roll the shoulder down. That's a pretty good deal because you can you protect your chest and you can get one shoulder a lot lower than you can get two. I'm not going to go through the whole shoulder roll thing. There's enough video there. But roll that shoulder down and come back, rewind, and chip that dude. Now you want to chip him, not him. He is trying to, guess what? He's trying to cover. And we would say to him, you can skip the cover. Okay, skip the cover, okay, and get there as fast as you can, but get your head in front. The back might run off of you. You're not in a hurry to get to that linebacker. If the linebacker hits it, yeah, you're in a hurry. Get off and go, okay? If the nose hits it, if the backside back or this back or the offside backer hits it, whoever hits it, the safety, you got him. If you don't have anything come back and rewind to that man. Chip him with the shoulder, okay, or the flipper, okay, whatever, or the hand, toolbox, right? Toolbox. Use what you think. I, the kid will say to me, "Well, he was too far to hit the shoulder." I say, "Okay, use the hand." Okay, you're only going to rewind so far. Okay, you're going to rock back into him with that chip. Okay, you're not going way back. It's like one step. You're returning one step. Okay, so whatever you did with this step, whether you braced it deep, okay, or you just took the slide step, come back with one step and become the rock. If he runs into you, rock, make him bounce off of you. Okay, if he doesn't run into you, don't fall into the pool. Don't go too far. Don't lose your integrity. Stay condensed, coiled, and wait. Could be a twist from the end. Could be a run through. Could be a run through. Could be a safety. Could be a nose. Could be a twist from this end. Okay. Do you wait very long? No. Okay. I'd say 1-2 steps and off you go, and you're going to wind up probably on that linebacker. Okay. Of course, if that linebacker goes here to the blind side, where are you going? Stay on the tackle. If that linebacker goes here, where are you going? Get on that nose and spread this thing apart and build a wall. Okay. So again, green light, yellow light, red light. That's it. You're in the stovepipe here. Be in the stovepipe. Use stovepipe techniques. Okay. Now I want to show you something right here. Okay, I'm going to shut this down for a second. Okay, so the second part of Johnny Gilchrist's question was how to handle a four eye. Okay, and we're committed to the veer. We're not going to box call this. We're not going to go 5 for 5 because we used to do it, but again, it's the post safety. It's all the front stunts, this and that and the other. So usually in a three down look, we call that 3 down. We'd have an odd call where the guard is going to cover the nose, the center is going to chip, okay, or slide and carry, and keep his eyes. That's his gap. Everybody's got their gap. Okay, this guy right here is going to try and cover that spot. Why? Because he knows the guard's used up on the odd call. Okay, and what we said over the years was don't try to block the four eye step, and I would use the slide step now with the shoulder roll step. Okay, you're going to step towards your gap. Okay, you're not going to let him block you, and then you're going to step back to him and give him the shoulder chip. Okay, and you're going to get out of the way of this guy. Now we always kept him here, but after Air Force kicked our butts in the against James Madison in the Armed Services Bowl, um, I learned to just move him out. We talked about it anyway. We were going to start messing around with that. Uh, Move him from the true sniffer to a foot to crotch on the tackle, and he's like a freaking. I mean, he. I don't care how big that guy is. He kills him. Okay. Again, he's an Apache. We're saying you're coming from here. He's going to get into the stovepipe pretty quick, but he's going to follow the tackle. That's a bad drawing. Let me fix that drawing a little bit. He's going to encircle. Okay, so he's going to put his face in the butt of that tackle and follow him and just wind up. He's going to wind up in the stovepipe, so he's going to go ahead and cover this guy who's being chipped. And I'm telling you right now, that guy gets killed. He doesn't know what to do. Now, if he fights back, of course, the ball stays in here. If he gets washed out, the ball might bounce out here. We're looking. If it's a scrape backer, then the tackle will never get off and it'll turn into a double team. The tackle will just rewind and add to it and it'll turn into a double team. The back will stay in here. Okay. It's pretty simple stuff. But that, again, is not in his gap, so that's a yellow light. So he's got to try and get leverage to the read spot on this defender. And I think a mistake is people will go ahead and they try to block him. They try to knock him this way. Well, when he's in the A gap, we're still not. We're covering him. It's like judo. Okay, gentle way. We're covering him and we're trying to get him either covered up or torn at an angle. Same thing here. If we go at him and we don't move him, the backer's free. It's a mess. Now, 5 technique, yeah, you can run ISO, all that other stuff. But to me, you call that from the sideline and you're locked into it, you got a problem. You call it as a package, okay, we got a 5 technique, we're going to run ISO. Okay, good. If it's not a 5 technique, we check and we run normal zone. Okay, good. Very good. Okay, alert, we're back to normal. Okay, we called ISO, alert. And ISO and dart and all that stuff, that's for that's 4-2 plays. That's 2 high safety plays. That's a thin box. Okay. Anything else, you're going to practice a bunch of crap. You're never going to be able to run it. And if you do run it, you're not going to run it good. So I would rather, let's say you're going to run dart and there's a 5 technique, run the dart. Okay. You block down, the guard blocks out, the tackle pulls, everybody's happy. Okay. No 5 technique, check. Go back to normal play. Okay, and again, don't even worry about it if it's you take the 5 technique out of it and just say, okay, we have a 4-2, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 backers, or a 3-2. Run the dart. We don't worry about the technique. If they're all out here, we're going to go for it. If they're all bunched up, well, what are you doing? Run the zone or alert to whatever, pass, whatever you want to do. Okay, we don't like always alerting to passes. I've been down that road. When you got a good passer, yeah. When you're not so hot, not so good. Okay. Well, anyway, to reiterate, green light, yellow light, red light. There ain't nothing else. It's just the way it is. Okay. Don't get caught up in it. Toolboxes. Kid says it's a green light, it's a green light. Okay, you watch a film the next day and you say, well, gee whiz, that should have been a yellow light. Yeah, coach, okay, I get it. Kid says it's a yellow light, it's a yellow light. He says the red light, it's a red light. Use the tools that apply to the lights that you got. That's it. Okay, Johnny? This was easier than what I took me like 2 hours. I said 1 hour. It took me like 2 hours to write that thing. Okay. So here you go. Okay. See you.